Hello and welcome to another episode of the Friday Tech Roundup. For you today, we cover everything from virtual hackathons to taking a sneak peek at the Amazon Web Services and what they have up their sleeves to help their customers remediate security issues. With so much to cover in such a short space of time, let's get going. Number one, I think we can all agree that during a crisis, being able to communicate at speed is an absolute priority. But the question is, at what cost? The UK government hit the news earlier this week after Boris Johnson, the UK's Prime Minister, tweeted a photo of the first ever digital cabinet, unfortunately revealing the meeting ID when he did. This also revealed that the country's most senior officers and ministers have been using Zoom to discuss mission-critical issues, despite warnings against hijacking threats to unprotected Zoom calls. In fact, it's actually come to light that despite Zoom promising an end-to-end encryption, Zoom are actually able to access data in transit along that entire connection and can also be compelled to provide that data to governments. While it's not something that you and I should necessarily be concerned about, when people are discussing highly sensitive and confidential information such as the UK Cabinet, then the lack of true end-to-end encryption is something that could be potentially dangerous. What's really interesting about this is actually a follow-up article by the BBC showed that the UK government defend the Prime Minister's decision to use Zoom, explaining that whilst highly secure video teleconferencing does exist in key sites, as many of the ministers are now being asked to work from home and self-isolate, there is little option for them but to use commercial systems. And actually at this point, Zoom is proving the most popular. UK officials say that the risks of not communicating in the middle of a fast-moving event far outweigh the possible security risks of using such a system. Let's just hope we don't have any Zoom bombing or data breaches to weigh up at the end of all this. Number two, some slightly more exciting news. Hack from Home is a virtual hackathon that is taking place this weekend. And what they hope to do is start creating privacy-enhancing solutions that alleviate the coronavirus crisis. The organisers are seeking help from all types of talent to form cross-functional teams that create genuinely beneficial apps that respect the privacy and security of personal data. Sponsors include the UK Government Digital Health Initiative, NHSX, and a number of businesses, labs and universities from all around the world. We've dropped a link below, so if you are interested, do go check that out. Number three, Rancher Labs hit the news after revealing big and small plans for the container orchestration platform Kubernetes. While there is a healthy uptake by enterprises, with a recent Cloud Native Computing Foundation survey finding that 78% of respondents were using Kubernetes in production, many of these deployments are small, or certainly not as large as they could be. Now, for container management company Rancher Labs, they are betting that all this is about to change. In fact, from million cluster deployments to the Internet of Things, Rancher Labs have been busy developing and now deploying a range of products that will cater for how different businesses are using the container platform now and also in the future. We've dropped a link below, so if you are interested in finding out more, do go check that out. Number four, Computing Online magazine continue their top 10 tenets of software quality assurance series, this week focusing on testing. Written by Mark Wilson, a quality assurance consultant with over 30 years experience, this piece deep dives into his own experience with finding bugs, as well as giving the audience exercises of how they can create test cases to cover as many logical conditions as you can find present in a simple program. As well as this, he also reveals models that have helped him and could also prove helpful to other buddying technologists. Above all else, Mark leaves us with the idea that if DevOps are the creators, then that must mean that testers have to be the destroyers. What do you think? Number five, Amazon Web Services announced earlier this week the general availability of Amazon Detective, a brand new offering which aims to help customers remediate security issues across their AWS workloads. Launched in preview at AWS reInvent last year, Amazon Detective automatically collects log data across a customer's resources and then uses machine learning and statistical analysis to build interactive visualizations which customers can then use to deduce security anomalies. This isn't the first time one of the largest cloud vendors has been seen to offer customers a helping hand around the ever-thorny issues of security. And in this instance, we would really like to thank AWS for making complex cloud workloads ever more accessible to the average user. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Friday Tech Roundup. Before you go, we do want to do a company shout out to the Royal Bank of Scotland, who yesterday set up and opened doors to a temporary distribution centre from their Edinburgh headquarters. The centre is currently being run by volunteers from the bank's own workforce and supports efforts from the Trussell Trust and Social Bite to help keep the two food poverty charities well stocked during the coronavirus crisis. Not only is this incredibly inspiring, it is really great to see big organisations thinking outside the box to help others in need. And on that positive note, we hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we look forward to catching up with you next week. Take care.